New episode of the podcast. It is Monday. It is the beginning of a new month. We'll get into that in a moment. And well, I've got a little bit of that to get into. I've got some shout outs to get into. I think one other thing that is such a terrible tease. I've got this, I've got randomness, and another random thing. So get excited for those. What a tease. No Anna today. Monday mornings normally mean my wife comes on. We would have recorded this last night. She's not waking up here at 4:30 in the morning to record this. Smart. But we got home from a trip to the other side of the state, to the west side of Washington, last night, late. And it was not in the cards. In the cards last night, we're unpacking the car, putting away some dirty clothes, getting some dirty clothes rocking and rolling, and getting my daughter put to bed. Which, thank you, Olivia. If you ever listen to this in the future, you made up for a rough flight from Atlanta to Seattle, where it was not a good moment, not a good look for you, and rallied it on a drive to the west side and back. 4 hours and 30 minutes in the car on the way there, 4 hours, 30 minutes in the car on the way back last night. Olivia crushed it. She's a car kid. Get her in that car seat. Now, we did get a crank Mickey Mouse Clubhouse loud for a very long time. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, people who made that soundtrack, you got some weird songs on there. Theme song's great. Hot dog, hot diggity dog is great. You've got a couple other good ones. And then you throw in a weird Daisy's courting Donald, Donald's courting Daisy, something like that. There's a technology song where it sings to the kids about how the internet's great. That's a dangerous thing to tell kids to do. Just, hey, kids, the internet is amazing. Just go ahead and jump on and start typing on the keys. See what comes up. It'll probably be good. So Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, you were on a huge loop in the car last night, but my daughter was great. She was fine. She just looked out the window, took it all in, took in the sights, took in the sounds, and didn't really make a fuss at all. So thank you for that. Anyways, we got home late last night, and Anna was like, yeah, both of us were just ready to go to bed. So there was no recording last night. And again, maybe she'll come on later this week, maybe next Monday. Now, I will say, west side of the state, a couple things I wanted to take in, a couple things of note for you. There is a perception about the state of Washington that I believe everyone sees off TV and stuff, and it is the west side of the state, and I've got to give the west side credit. You've got a real cool look, real cool vibe. Every time I go over there, I wonder why the evergreen trees that I see right now, I look out my window, well, if it wasn't dark out, I could look out my window, look 2 blocks up the street, and it's woods. And I can see those woods just right down the street from me. And it's evergreen trees. And it looks cool. But there is something so much more magical about the evergreen forests on the west side of the state of Washington. And it is that twilight vibe, that it's wet. It's kind of, you can feel it damp. You can feel it when you see it. Like, obviously, you can feel it when you're in it. You can feel the moisture in the air. But you can feel it when you see it. And the evergreen forests over on the west side of the state are magical. And I love being in them. And we went to a park with the girls, with my daughter and my brother's daughter. We went to a park, and it was inside the woods, and it just felt so awesome. And again, magic is the word I use to describe it, because it feels like you're in a movie. So I love that part about the west side of the state, and I love how it looks on the east side over here. We've got cool trees, cool forests, but they feel drier. And that wet feeling on the other side makes their evergreen trees the trees of Washington. When they say you're the evergreen state, it's those trees. Yeah, we have evergreen trees here, but those are the evergreens we want representing the state of Washington. The other side of the Cascades, the west side of the Cascades, you get that. Okay, we get a lot of other things. I mean, we have a lot of better stuff on this side of the state, but they get that hands down. So cool. The other thing I take of note, near my brother's house, there's a Chick-fil-A, and I have dreams that someday the Chick-fil-A here in Spokane will work like that one, where you go through and you get in line, and then you get your food, and then you leave, and you come back, and you eat that food during the meal you want to eat. The Chick-fil-A here is still popping off, I guess, where it's still the most popular, biggest game in town, and you still wait a while. But I have dreams of this. We were waiting. What were we doing? What am I saying? My wife and my sister-in-law, Anna and Naomi, were out on a hike, And they came back on the way back. They're like, hey, you guys want Chick-fil-A? My brother and I were like, yeah, sure. That sounds great. And they just went through and got it and came back. And I thought, this is what it's meant to be. This is what it's meant to be. Okay, there you go. I got that off my chest. Why did I need to get that off my chest? I have no idea. Monday morning, February 1st, 2021, I did my first ever 1 second everyday video today. Okay. You can see it on my Instagram, Sean T. Widmer. It's going to go up here in a second. 1 second every day is an app that my buddy Miles, my buddy Brandon have done for a long time, 2 years now, maybe a little bit more than 2 years. And I've always wanted to do it, and I never did it until this month. And I'm kind of hyped about this. And I now have experienced it for a month, so I'm promoting it to you guys because it is really cool. And what it is you take video every day of the month, any video you want, at some point during your day, something you're doing, something that stood out that day, whatever it may be. And then this app takes 1 second of that video and puts it into a slideshow. Last month, 31 days. So it's like a 31-second slideshow. Boom, boom, boom. Just rapid succession. Day one, January 1st through January 31st. It's really cool. Now, I had tried it many times before. The reason I never did it was because there'd be days where I forget to take a video. And it's only 1 second that you need to take the video of. But if you're not thinking about it, it's easy to miss it. And then when you miss a day, it's like, well, I want this to be 1 second every day. So my brain wouldn't allow me to go, okay, well, I have 1 second every day of January, except January 17th, 20th, and the 28th, I have no videos. So I'm going to skip those days. That didn't work for my brain. It needed to be 1 second every day. So I actually put a note in my phone every day at 3 o'clock that says, take a video, so that at least, at minimum, I can just pop my phone out, take a video of whatever's happening at 3 o'clock, and that can make it on my day. I will say, I'm very happy to say that never happened this month. I think the idea in my head that that alarm was coming kept me thinking about it more often and got me in the habit of taking more video. That plus the fact, and I think I've talked about this before, I'm putting together on these hard drives I've got these big hard drives where I'm putting together home videos that I missed so much from when I was a kid. My dad had the big video camera on his shoulder, would shoot video, and we have these great old home videos. I feel like that's gone, and I've talked about how I want to change this. Well, it's been nice because I've done it. I've got all of last year of my daughter's life. I've got long form videos of just her existing on these hard drives. And they've been getting much better because it used to be her just laying on this DockATot pillow thing on our couch. Now it's her running face first into a glass window, which seems much more amusing for me to watch. Probably not as amusing for her, but it's cool. So I've been making these family videos. That's helped a little bit as well with me having my video on my phone going. But it is cool when it's done to put some music to it and have your 1 month. And now I'm in on month 1, 11 more months to go, and I can do the end of the year, full year in review, 1 second every day, 365 days. I'd recommend downloading the app. 1 second every day. It's free, so that's good. And it is cool, a cool way to document it. It's fun because I looked back at my month and I thought, well, how fun can it be to look back at 1 month, 1 second every day? But it is cool. Like I got my snowblower this month. I used it for the first time this month, which was sweet. I'm a snowblower guy now. I'm apparently overly obsessed with my daughter, which I think that's how it's supposed to be if you're a parent, but it shows a lot in my video. If you don't like my daughter, don't watch my 1 second every day video. And it shows all of her battle wounds. Poor girl. She cannot stay away from him. Right now, that girl's face is a magnet to any kind of obstacle in my house. Her face is magnetized to it. Corner of a wall, face to it, bruise. The bathtub, any edge on a bathtub, bruises. Coffee table, if you have a coffee table, she got her first injury over the weekend where she was just being Olivia and was trying to grab a book, goes to stand up, stands up under it, like right next to a coffee table, leans over, bam, right across the bridge of her nose, her first time ever, breaks the skin, and so now she looks like a hockey player. And it's just like, Olivia, babe, you got to watch where you're going. But it's not in the cards. It is funny. My brother's daughter, Elliot, is a couple months younger than Olivia. And so having them together for the weekend, there was a realization that hit me that I think I knew in the back of my head, but now I definitely know. His daughter would sit and read books and play with the toys. And, you'd put a couple toys in front of her, and she was just so content with those for 20 minutes, hanging out, smiling, laughing. And meanwhile, Olivia was just like, well, I love these toys, but also I got to go. And it was put a toy down, she'd grab it for 10 seconds, throw it, and stand up and look at you and scream in a fun way and say, come catch me. And it was gone. Beeline out the room, wherever she could run to. She never stops. She is loud. She is wild. And I absolutely love it. It is so much fun. It was a weekend where I love my brother's kid, Elliot. She was sweet. She's just a sweetheart of a baby, beautiful baby. But there's something I love about the wildness of my daughter that is very me, that is very my wife, and it's both of us combined into this cute little kid. It's really fun. It's really fun to see. Okay, enough of my daughter. The other thing I noticed from this 1 second everyday video, I did a couple game nights. I love game nights. I love playing games. In fact, I went over to Seattle this week, and we'll talk about a game that I played there in just a second, but we got to play games with my brother and his sister. We played a game called, what's it called? Is it called Throw the Burrito? Let me see here. Throw the Burrito. Do a little quick Google search here. It is called Throw the Burrito. It is by the makers of the game Exploding Kittens. And it's a card game where you try to collect triplets, 3 of a kind. And if you do, it could result in a battle where the other people in the game grab these little squishy toy, stress relief feeling toy burritos, and you chuck them at someone else at the table. And the person who gets hit loses a point, and then the game progresses like that, scoring whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a game where you throw toy burritos at each other. It's very fun game for your family. Throw the burrito. So throw burrito. Sorry, throw burrito. Fun game. But we were over there. We played some games. I don't all the way remember where I was going with this. Now I do. And I looked back at my month of January and said, I've played a bunch of games. Carcassonne game I love. This Terraforming Mars game I love. I have a game I don't like. I have a game I do not enjoy at all. We played Ticket to Ride. And I'm realizing more and more, I just don't like that game. It does not do anything for me. I've tried to love it. I've tried to like it. And I'll play it, and I'll let you know I played it. And Tyler, if you're listening, I played it and I won. Beat your butt. So it's not like I'm bad at it, and that's why I don't like it. I just don't know what it is. I just don't enjoy Ticket to Ride. There's something about it I don't like. And I'm realizing, from talking to my brother this weekend, the game we did play is total nerd a dungeon crawling game called Gloomhaven. It is not for everybody. It is for me. It is my favorite board game ever, where you're these little characters trying to figure out why this whole area of the world is being taken over by this thing called the Gloom. So you're fighting all these bad guys in this game that continues. So it's called a legacy game. And if you've never played a legacy game, that is my point today. Get a legacy game and play it, and see how it changes your approach to playing games. Now, the big one to get, I think a lot of people have played the game Pandemic. Pandemic Legacy Season 1 is the game to start with if you are looking to play this kind of game. I believe there's a Risk Legacy that's supposedly really good. There's Gloomhaven, which is super nerdy, but I love it. There's, I think, another one called Betrayal. Let me look. Apparently, this is just me Googling today. Betrayal Legacy that's supposedly really good. But I would say if you've ever played any of the Pandemic game, get Pandemic Legacy Season 1, maybe Season 2, but start with Season 1. And these legacy games are games that you play and enjoy them on your sit down, just like a normal game, but the game continues. So the next time you play, what you did the previous time will affect what you're doing on the next time you play it. So, for instance, in a game like Pandemic Legacy, you play the game Pandemic, you've probably played this game before, and it's fun. But now, at the end of this game, things are going to happen. You're going to lose abilities. You're going to gain abilities. You're going to maybe get a new character to use. Maybe you're going to lose a character you can't lose the next time. So what you did the first game will affect what you did the next game, and so on and so forth. And there's an ongoing story to get to the end of over the course of a long time. It's really fun. So this Gloomhaven game, my brother and I have been playing for 3 years with a group of friends. So it's been great because every time we sit down to play it, whatever we just did affected whatever we did the last time we played will affect what we did the next time. And that draw to me makes me want to continue to play these games more and more. Legacy games. Look them up. If you type in legacy games, you're going to see a list of them. Highly recommend snagging one and seeing what you think. Because as great as board games are, and I love board games, and this is kind of one of my things with Ticket to Ride. This is one of my things with a game like Carcassonne, where I love the sit-down aspect of that game. And I love the moment of strategy and figuring it out. But when you add that next level of not only strategy for tonight, but strategy for the future playing, that I can't get past. And it's kind of jaded my brain to, well, I can't play many other games besides these legacy games. Okay, I did want to give some shout outs before we're getting out of here. Oh, and also this week is just the most brutal week for the Blazers. I've been watching so much Portland Trail Blazers basketball. Last week, watched all their games, watched all the losses. I miss Saturday night's game. Lillard hits a buzzer beater against the Bulls to win it. And I was excited because they won, but they were down to the Bulls at the very end of the game with 6 seconds left. I don't know what's going on right now in Portland. It's such a bummer. Well, I do know CJ McCollum's out and Yusuf Nurkic is out. But this week is not going to be a fun week for Blazers fans. It is a game tonight, Monday night, against the third best team in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who the Blazers have no one to guard him. No one. Robert Covington probably will try. I'm assuming for a little bit. Period. That's it. I mean, I don't know who else guards him, so that's going to be a rough one. And then Tuesday night, the leading scorer in the NBA, Bradley Beal. The Washington Wizards are terrible. But they had the leading scorer in the league with Bradley Beal, and for some reason, I just feel like Washington is going to be a problem for Portland. Coming off of tonight's game, Portland goes back-to-back. Tonight, Milwaukee. Tomorrow night, Washington, where I read that as a trap game. And then Thursday night, they play against the best team in the East, the Philadelphia 76ers. So this could be, for me, a rough week for the Blazers. So there might not be a lot of Blazers talk on the podcast this week. Finally, I wanted to give a couple shout-outs. Thank you to Tyler. Thank you to Katie. Thank you to my friend Curdy for the reviews on iTunes. It means so much to me. I really appreciate you for doing that. The goal is 100 reviews on iTunes by the end of the year. And those reviews get the podcast a little bit closer to that goal. So thank you so much. And Curdy, this is my call out to you. This week, I want to have you on the podcast to talk really nerdy stuff with me about the world of the internet. So hopefully we get Curdy on later this week. Now I've said it on the podcast, so it exists. It exists out there in the ether. Okay, everybody who listened today, thank you for listening. Go find a legacy game. Go find Pandemic Legacy. If you're a super nerd like me, go find Gloomhaven. If you're a super nerd like me and you've never heard of Gloomhaven, look it up. Don't watch too much of it on YouTube because it will ruin a lot of the stuff. The game's a big story-driven game, so you don't want to ruin how that works for you. Go check out a legacy game. Get one. Have a great Monday. Talk to you tomorrow.